Students, we already know that is there are the four factors of production, that is land, labor, capital and organization. We describe one by one what is needed for the farming purposes. Now, we first discuss that is the land. Farming in Palampur. Land is fixed. Farming is the main production activity in Palampur. We already know that is in many agricultural, many village, in the many rural areas, that is the farming is the main activity. Here also the farming is the main activity. 75% of the people who are working are dependent on farming for their livelihood. They could be farmers or farm laborers. Farmers means that they have their own land, or farm laborers means that they don't have their land. They have to cultivate the other's land. The well-being of these people is closely related to the production on the farms. But remember that there is a basic constraint in raising farm production. Land area under cultivation is practically fixed. Since 1960 in Palampur, there has been no expansion in land area under cultivation. By then, some of the wasteland in the village had been converted into cultivated land. There exists no further scope to increase the farm production by bringing new land under the cultivation. So we see that is the land is fixed in nature. That is, it is the nature of the gift. So we cannot increase the land, but we have to day by day the population is increasing. So the day by day, that is the need for the agriculture product is also increasing. So we have to increase our production. So how do you increase our production? We can increase our production in two ways. That there is a method of the multiple cropping, and there is a method of the modern farming method. Multiple cropping means that is in a year, during a year, we have to cultivate the different types of goods. Maybe sometimes we have to cultivate wheat, sometimes we have to cultivate rice. Before this season, that is that between this season, we can grow the potatoes or the that is oil seeds. Different kinds of food fruits are produced. Okay, so there is the, in this way we can increase our production. And the modern farming method means, that is modern farming method means that is in 1960 we have to just encourage the green revolution. Now what do you mean by the green revolution? Green revolution means that is in India the production of the wheat and rice, mainly the wheat and rice, are the agricultural product increases so much by using the high yielding variety of seeds, by using the chemical fertilizer, by using the chemical pesticides. In this way we have to increase more. Okay, so this is known as the Great Revolution. Now, the standard unit of measuring land is hectare. Though in the villages you may find land area being discussed, the local unit such as Viga, Ghuntia, etc. 1 hectare equal to is the area of a square with one side measuring 100 meters. Can you compare the area of a 1 hectare field with the area of a school ground? So you have also the very small school ground, so you can't understand this one. But we see that is the, in the different way we can measure the land. Okay, is there in one can grow more from the same land? Yes, I already discussed it. That is the multiple cropping and the modern farming method, that we can increase our production. Okay, so here we learn about this. In this kind of crops grown and facilities available, Palampur would resemble a village of the western part of the state of Uttar Pradesh. So here we see that is the some portion of the India, that is just like the western part of the Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana. They are getting the most facilities. Tamil Nadu, they are getting the most facilities from the Green Revolution. Their production increases so much. Okay, all land is cultivated in Palampur. No land is left idle. During the rainy season, Kharif season, farmers grow jowar and bajra. These plants are used as a cattle feed. It is also by cultivation of potato between October and December. In the winter season, that is the Rabi season, fields are sown with the wheat. From the wheat produced, farmers keep enough wheat for the family's consumption and sell the surplus wheat at the market of Raiganj. A part of the land area is also devoted to sugarcane, which is harvested once every year. Sugarcane is the raw form, so as the jaggery is sold to traders in Shahpur. So that we just see there, that is that during a year different types of crops are grown. Rabi crops, Kharif crops, and the other crops, that is we are just getting the facilities of multiple cropping. Okay, the main reason why farmers are able to grow the different crops in a year in Palampur, because of the irrigational facilities. The irrigational facilities are very wide and it is very well connected, well developed. So we can get the different types of crops. They don't have to depend on the monsoon rain. If they have to depend on the monsoon rain, maybe hardly 1 to 2 crops can be grown, but the other crops cannot be grown. But here, that is the well developed irrigational facilities are there, so they can grow the more than one crop. The main reason why farmers are able to grow 3 different crops in a year in Palampur is due to the well-developed system of irrigation. Electricity came early to Palampur. Its major impact was to transform the system of irrigation. Partial wells were till then used by farmers to draw water from the wells and irrigate small fields. People saw that the electric run tubes could irrigate much higher area, larger areas of land more effectively. The first few tube wells were installed by the government. Soon, however, farmers started setting up private tube wells. As a result, by mid-1970s, the entire cultivated area of 200 hectares was irrigated. So we see that is the irrigation is the one of the facilities that is provided to grow the more crops. Not all villages in India have such high levels of irrigation. Apart from the riverine plains, coastal regions of our country are well irrigated. In contrast, plateau regions such as the Deccan Plateau have low level of irrigation because that is the land level, that is their features, that is in the plateau. We see that is the features are totally different from the coastal region and the plain. So there, the irrigational facilities cannot be provided to. So of the total cultivated area, in the little less than 40% is irrigated even today. In the remaining areas, farming is largely depend on the rainfall. So it is not only depend on the rainfall, that the other factors, that is irrigation, is mainly facilitated the farmers. To grow more than one crop on a piece of land during the year is known as the multiple cropping. We already discussed it. It is the most common way of increasing production on a given piece of land. All farmers in Palampur grow at least 2 main crops. Many are growing potatoes as the third crop in the past 15 to 20 years. So we see that is the different crops are grown in a year. It is known as the multiple cropping. So here you just see that is the sum of the that is the diagram is shown here. That is the table is shown there. That is the cultivated areas over the years. We see that is the cultivated areas increases, but not so much. And also that is there is a graph increases, that we just see from the graph that the production is increases. Okay, and there is another way, that is the modern farming method. Now we have to discuss about the modern farming method. You have seen that one way of increasing production from the same land is multiple cropping. The other way is to use modern farming method for higher yields. That is, yield is measured by the crop produced on a given piece of land during a single season. Till the mid 1960s, the seeds used in cultivation were traditional ones with relatively low yields. Traditional seeds needed less irrigation. Farmers used cow dung and other natural manures as fertilizer. All these were readily available with the farmers who did not have to buy them. The Green Revolution in the late 1960s, we already discussed it, introduced the Indian farmer to cultivation of wheat and rice using high-yielding varieties of seeds compared to the traditional seeds. The HYV seeds promised to produce much greater amounts of grains on a single plant. As a result, the same piece of land would now produce far larger quantity of food grains. Now today's day we already, that is a plenty of water, also chemical fertilizer and the pesticides to produce best result. Higher yields were possible only from a combination of HIV seeds, irrigation and chemical fertilizer pesticides. Farmers of Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh were the first to try out the modern farming method. The farmers in this region set up tube wells for irrigation and made use of HIV seeds, chemical fertilizer and pesticides in farming. Some of the bought farmer machine like tractors, threshers also, and which made plowing and harvesting faster. They were rewarded with high yields of wheat. In Palampur, the yield of wheat grown from the traditional variety was 1300 kg per hectare. With HIV seeds, the yield went up to the 32,000. Just it is triple maybe. So we just see there, that is the larger, if there is a larger amount of production, that the marketable surplus is also large, so they can sell there in the market. So we see that there is a two ways, that is the multiple cropping and the modern farming method, that the farm production increases. Okay, so up to this today we have to read.